So here at JenEhr Farm, we have made investments for climate change. We know it gets hot, we know it gets dry, we know it gets wet, and so what we've done here at the farm is made investments in hoop houses and hay groves. Hoop houses are the ones that allow us to bring spinach in the winter. They have their plastic on all year, but the hay groves are ones that are summer growing. They're 3-season growing. The plastic goes on March 15th and comes off November 15th. And what we do in those houses is usually tomatoes, early carrots, but one of the things I love about these houses is this house, which is our perennial house. This is where Farmer Paul has planted rhubarb and sage and tarragon and some of the other things that we normally can't grow because the winter is just too difficult on them. But because we cover them early in the spring and keep that cover on later, because we have the black landscape fabric on, this is a perfect place for us to have those perennial crops that we couldn't grow before. Unfortunately, asparagus doesn't grow very well in these, but we're pretty happy with the rhubarb this spring. What we have off to the side is we have our tomato houses. So 2/3 of these hay groves, or 3-season growing, which are 30 feet wide, 286 feet long, we use to keep heat in and keep water out. So we had the perennial house, but then most of what we do with these hay groves or the 3-season growing tunnels is crops that love heat but want to be judiciously watered. So in this house, and probably 5 others like this, we are growing tomatoes. These are where our CSA members get their early tomatoes, where you'll find tomatoes at our farmers market stand, and where Outpost Co-op in Milwaukee carries our tomatoes basically from July all the way through September. The reason tomatoes work in here is because it gets hotter and because we can control the water. When water comes down over the top of tomatoes, that's how we get diseases. When we water from underneath, which we do underneath the plastic here, then they don't get that kind of disease. We can control the heat by opening and closing the plastic on the roof and at the ends, and we can control that heat a little bit with water underneath, but that's not the predominant way to control heat. The other thing is we get 95% of #1 tomatoes out of these houses. Those of you that have gardens know that about 1/3 to 1/2 of your tomatoes have cracks and big gouges, things that are caused by the outside weather. So that's where our tomatoes come from, starting about mid-July.